Okay, did it pop up on your phone like?
Oh, I don't even know. Hold on.
Hello, everybody. I'm just double checking that it's coming up here online. Just make sure you're all getting it. Did you get anything on yours?
Nope.
Interesting. Usually comes up right away. Hello, everybody. I'm still not seeing it. Oh, yeah, okay, we're there. Just still not seeing it. Okay. Hi, everybody. Okay. So today we are going to go over driver audits. I appreciate all of you guys kind of staying out of here and going online and doing it all from online. I think we're going to kind of stick with that until further notice. So make sure when you guys finish with the safety meeting that you are filling out the link in the description box, making sure you guys are getting credit for being here since we won't have, an actual physical list for who is here. So make sure you're filling those out to get credit. So we're going to jump into your guys' audits. So the point of audits is, we're not out there babysitting you guys. So we want to make sure you guys are doing your jobs when no one's watching. Make sure you're doing everything right, doing it correctly while you're not being babysat. So we're just going to kind of go over the things that we do on an audit, kind of refresh. Obviously, you guys have gotten audits before. So I know I only have, thankfully, not that I'm upset you're here, one person in the room right now, but I'm still going to ask questions. Who do we call first? Can somebody tell me online? Or Stephen?
Supervisor.
No.
Dispatch.
Yes. Okay. Dispatch is your first call. So, in the case of incidents, accidents, injuries, dispatch is always your first call. Want to make sure you guys can calculate your weight capacity. You guys are responsible for knowing the limits of your trucks and trailers. So one, do you know how? And do you guys understand that we as Prairie do not condone overhauling? Any fines you get for overweight is your responsibility. Next up, we're going to make sure you guys are wearing all of your PPE. This minimum PPE that you see here is required. It is not optional. It's a safety aspect, so therefore not having on your safety equipment will result in not being eligible to receive your incentive. So that includes your hard hat, your monitor, your safety glasses, your FRs. Again, make sure they're long sleeve and it's your outermost layer. Your safety toed, not books. Not safety-toed books. That's boots. Safety-toed boots. And your gloves. Your gloves are required. We see a lot of you guys not wearing your gloves when you're doing your work. You want to make sure you're wearing your gloves as well. Any additional PPE includes your safety vest, your hearing protection, or a half or full mask respirator. Reminder that we have those vests and hearing protection available in the shop if you wish to use them. And if you're dispatched to an H2S flight well, make sure you have your respirator as well. Yes, Ethan, you also lose your incentive for overweight as well. Alright, next on the list, wheels chalked, cones placed, and your trailers grounded. Why do we chalk our wheels? Can somebody say online or Steve?
We chalk them so that in case the truck rolls. And
Yes.
to double check to Yeah, make sure that you're doing a walk around after you're done.
Yeah, so wheels get chalked so our trucks don't roll away. I don't know who Nunya is, but we do have FR safety vests, so outermost layer is still your safety vest, and our safety vests are, yes, FR, so. Number 2, so yes, wheels get chalked so your truck doesn't roll away. Why do we put our cones out?
Walk arounds.
Yes, it forces you into that 360-degree walk around, and that is required, not just by us, but by our producers as well. And what that forces us to do is recognize any hazards around our trucks. When we finish and we go pick those cones back up, we can see if any new hazards developed, or for example, if you have to swing a little wider to make sure you don't hit the stairs on your way out. Simple things like that. It's the small things like walk-arounds that prevent us from these silly incidents that we have. Why do we ground our trailers? Sorry, it's all getting put on you, Steve. No, you're not.
What?
Why do we ground our trailers?
Static electricity.
Yes. Dissipate the static before we start our flow. This prevents sparks, explosions, and all 3 of these things need to be done before you hook up your trailer and need to stay in place until the hose is removed. So we don't explode. Good. I forget you guys are like 5 seconds behind on this thing. Okay, next on the list, fire extinguishers. You must have a fire extinguisher in your transfer area, whether it be mounted in your transfer area or brought from the cab. So if it's mounted there or pulled from your cab, regardless, it needs to be in your transfer area. They're only useful in the first few seconds of a fire, so the time it takes to go get it from your cab, it wouldn't be very effective. You also want to make sure it's fully charged and ready to go, that you have it inspected. All of this should also be done in your pre and post trip to make sure it's good to go, and that you also, number 1, do have it in your vehicle. You're going to make sure you're not using electronic devices during transfer. This includes cell phones, Bluetooth, music players. All these things need to remain in your cab with the doors closed. Why do we not have electronics?
So you're not playing on them while you're loading.
So yes, number 1, distractions. So number one, I guess they're not intrinsically safe. So they can possibly have the potential for explosions. And number 2, they're huge distractions. If you're not paying attention to your equipment, you'll not be ready to stop the flow if something does happen. Same thing with music in your ears. If you can't hear what your equipment is doing, you're not going to be able to shut it down. We're going to make sure you're following procedures for loading and unloading. Again, that includes your wheels are chalked, your cones are out, and your truck is grounded. These are mandatory, again, for every site. And you must also be following API standards, so no cutting corners, no skipping samples, and no shorting on your grind out times. The standards are the standards. There's no skimping on those. You're outside the cab ready to disengage. We've said this many, many times, but this is not just prairie policy. It's federal law. It's federal violation to not be at your controls when product is being transferred, and you can get terminated on your first offense for this. Your door must also remain closed, so this includes standing on your running boards to access things inside the cab. That door has to remain closed and you have to be at your controls. They are your number 1 priority. We're going to check, make sure you have a completed JSA and make sure this is completed before starting the job. I'm going to look on here again just to make sure. Can somebody tell me what JSAs are used for? What's a JSA used for?
It's a job safety analysis processes that you follow. It's a checklist to make sure you're avoiding all hazards during your job at task.
Good. Thanks, Alan. Yes, it's communicating hazards. When you're filling out your JSAs and you say, yes, there is a hazard, you must fill out the box also that says what the hazard is. So, number 1, if you don't, it makes the JSA completely useless. It doesn't tell anyone else what's happening at that location, and the next people on the site are not going to be made aware of what that hazard is or that it's there in the first place. So communicating these hazards to the next people on the site prevents incidents from happening in the future. Alright, there we go. Stop and mitigate hazards. Yes, good. Alright. Just by having a conversation with you guys, we can usually tell if you're alert and fit for duty. That includes physically, mentally, and emotionally. So if you're injured, extremely sick, you can't focus on the job that you need to do, you should not be in control of that rig. So make sure you're getting enough sleep and keeping yourself healthy. When you're out there, make sure you're able to do your job and do it well. All your equipment, do you have it all and does it all work? This should, again, be found in your pre- and post-trip inspections. So you want to make sure you have your tools and your kits and that everything in them works. Make sure you have your chocks, cones, and fittings, all that good stuff. That should all be found in your pre- and post-trip, that you have all your needed stuff that you need. And also make sure that's in proper condition. Nothing's broken, everything works. Next, you guys usually have a conversation about what the monthly safety theme is. I've been pretty pleased to see on a lot of the audits lately that many of you guys have been talking about the weekly safety topic as well and telling the supervisors what the weekly safety topic is. So that's nice that a lot of you do know that. I appreciate that, in addition to talking about our monthly safety theme. With this monthly safety theme, again, we align ours with Shell. And they like us to get these different field talks in with you guys about important information that kind of spans across the industry and what we do in the field. So that's why we talk about these things, make sure we're in the know, and so forth. We ask for 4 of the 12 life-saving rules when we audit you. These are the 12 life-saving rules. You're to cite 4 of them. The ones most often given by you guys and what you do in your field are highlighted in the green, so no alcohol or drugs while working or driving. While driving, don't use your phone and don't exceed speed limits, wear your seatbelt, and follow your prescribed journey management. So those 4 things are the ones that people usually say. We have drivers that can rattle off all 12 no problem right away, so 4 shouldn't be too much of a problem. If you guys want this slide, so you can have those 12 life-saving rules, come and talk to me. I'll get it printed out for you guys and you can have it with you. But we need 4 of those when you're out getting audited. Hours of service. Want to make sure you guys are understanding your hours of service. Samsara obviously tracks that for us. If you're in violation, obviously you cannot drive. If you have an issue with your log, you can always call David and you can set up a time to learn how to do your simple log corrections on your own. David has no problem helping you out, fixing them every once in a while, but we'd also like you guys to be able to do that. They're simple, easy to do, take just a couple minutes. So if you don't know how to do that or need help figuring that out, David can also always show you how to do that. We also must have the ELD instruction sheet in the cab in case DOT pulls you over. On the chance they don't know how to use it, you have to have those instructions in the cab so they can figure out how to use that device. You also have to have 8 blank paper logs to back up your last logs in case your ELD fails, so we can back them up and show them. All right. We're going to ask you what stop work authority is. What is stop work authority? Steven?
When something's unsafe, you have the right to stop the job. If you feel something's unsafe, but it's not right,
Good.
you have the right to stop the job.
Good. So when there's a perceived incident, accident, hazard that's going to cause an incident, accident, something like that, you have the right to stop work. Dispatch needs to be contacted anytime stop work is used so they can report on it and send it to the producer. Who has stop work authority? Everybody. Yes, everybody has it, whether it's in this office, it's anyone that works at Prairie, anyone who's on location that doesn't work for Prairie, everyone has stop work authority. And like I've been saying lately, stop work is not only a right or an option, but also a what? Somebody tell me.
An obligation.
An obligation. Thank you. All right. We're going to make sure you know the maximum speed limit, which is
5 miles an hour underneath the posted speed limit.
false. Company policy is 65 miles an hour. Speed signs, obviously anything less than that is you obey those posted speed limits, but if it's 75, you still maximum 65 miles an hour. Obviously our geofenced areas, thank you Mike and Tim. Geofences, also we have to abide by those as well. We're going to make sure you know how to follow your journey management plans. If you're at the correct location when the audit is being conducted, it's pretty evident you can follow your journey management plan. Make sure you're checking for updates in the plans often in DC, because sometimes routes or things along the routes change. So make sure you're not just getting in and going to the location without checking to make sure nothing's updated. A reminder not to use your GPS to find your locations. Again, Google in California doesn't really know what's going on in oil field back roads in Wyoming. So make sure you're following those turn-by-turns to get to the right location you're going to. If you're ever in doubt that maybe you missed your turn or you're just lost in general, call someone. We can look you up. We can say, yep, you missed your turn about a half a mile back. But instead of turning around in the landowner's field or tearing up the ditch or driving down their driveway, any of those things, we can say, hey, about another quarter mile down the road, it dead ends into another location that you can safely turn around in and go find your turn from there. All right. Your SDSs and ERGs. They need to be in your cab card book. Your ERG needs to be within reach while you're belted in. Your hazmat compliance book, the red book, and the FMCSA, which is the green book. All of these need to be in your trucks. If you are missing any of these, see the parts window in the shop, and if they don't have them, come see David or me, and we can get them for you guys. A little bit about that SDS as well. We want to make sure you guys understand first aid and product handling in the SDSs. There's 16 total sections in the SDSs. The ones that apply to you as a driver, these are what you get audited on. You have your Section 4 for first aid, Section 7 for product handling, Section 8 for PPE requirements for chemicals, and Section 14 is transportation info. So those 4 things you need to know. And then along with how it's organized kind of in those sections, what I really care about is the fact that by reading those, you'll know what to do if this stuff gets in your eyes or your mouth or things like that. On terms of that, your first aid kits and eyewash kits, do you know where these are in your trucks? We've had audits where it takes drivers 5 to 15 minutes to find where these are located in your trucks, and that's with clear vision. Just imagine how much longer it would take you if you got crude or production water in your eyes and you're searching around your cabs. How much more damage would be done by the time you found it and you can't actually see it to find it. So again, this is something that should be found in your pre and post trips. Make sure, number 1, you have them before you go out in the field, and number 2, that they're, still within date and they're checked out and you have supplies in them. Oh, also, that includes doing those kinds of things for your temp trucks. If it's not your usual truck, you should still be doing a proper pre and post trip on them and making sure that you have all the equipment you need in them, and that includes first aid kits, eyewash kits, all that good stuff in there. Then we're going to say, what's Destination 0? Steven? You can pick them.
Destination 0? It means 0 incidents.
Yeah, 0 incidents, injuries, or spills for the year. By now, we should all be pretty aware that our term of Destination 0 and Shell's term of Goal 0 are the same thing. So yes, it means 0 incidents, accidents, or injuries for the year. That sheet that you guys sign, again, is your personal commitment to that goal of 0. Doing everything you can personally each day, committing to doing those things. IVMS and feedback. I think we're all pretty aware we have Samsara and that it tracks things. They all come into play, all these things, your speed, harsh driving, log violations, all comes into play with your incentives, your reviews, your scorecards, all that stuff. So we also want to make sure that you're getting your counseling. Most of this is being sent out through email now, so make sure you're still responding when you get it. Say, oh, okay, I got it. You betcha. So all of that's being sent out through your emails. I believe you can now get a link that tells you, or that shows you the video on where that event happened, so you can watch it right away. On that term as well, you're getting safety, operational, motivational, and informational messages. I think, LaDonna, am I correct? Majority, pretty much like 99% of this is coming through your emails, correct? Pretty much anything we send out is coming through email.
I believe David and Robert have started doing IVMS alerts through emails.
Yes.
Yes. Pay statements are going via email.
Yep, pay statements, all that good stuff. So, make sure you're getting those set up. If you don't have it set up, get with Robert. He can help you. Give him a ring-a-ding-ding on the phone. If a message is sent out and the excuse that you didn't know about it doesn't count. Because we've sent out that communication that you're to look at, so it's your responsibility to read that communication. I'm going to throw in our safety focus. I changed it to safety focus phrase for those of you who are super picky. I'm going to throw this in right now so y'all can't just go to the slide with it on it. Safety focus phrase is do things right when no one's watching. That's the point of these audits, to make sure that you're doing them when no one's babysitting you. So do things right when no one's watching. And set up your emails. Then we're going to see that you're aware, make sure you're aware of any visible DOT violations. Again, this is something that's caught in your pre and post trips. Once they are recognized, they should be put into the DVIR, noted in there, so that the shop can get to working on them and get them queued in. And last but not least, we are going to make sure that you have a clean truck cab. Make sure you're cleaning up after yourself, staying organized. The cab is your office and is also a representation of you as a Prairie employee. Apart from aesthetics or how it looks or anything, it's also a safety thing. So imagine, say, like one of those igloo coolers rolling around in your cab. If you rolled your cab at 65 miles an hour, that smashes you in the face. You're going to have a little bit more problems than, a dirty cab. So take out your trash, secure anything else. Make sure you don't have anything that's going to hurt you in there. So that does it for audits. Again, we do them to make sure you guys, we just want to make sure you guys are doing what you're supposed to be doing, and this plays into your incentives and good things like that. So, on to operations a little bit here. Exemption certificates. With the whole virus thing going on right now, we are an exempt business. So we have certificates that you guys need to get into your books and put them in your trucks and make sure that you have them there. So in case somebody does say, hey, you're not supposed to be working, we are an exempt service.
I will be emailing them to everybody's email, so they will also have an electronic copy should they not be in the truck books.
Good.
But my plan is to have supervisors deliver 2 remote locations tomorrow for those trucks and get them in all of these trucks, hopefully by end of the day tomorrow. It would help a lot if drivers would just come in and get one when they start shift. I'll leave them in dispatch. So if their truck doesn't already have one, grab one out of dispatch when they start their shift. It's already in a little plastic sleeve, so all you gotta do is just insert it in your book.
Good. All right. Today we had management out in the field pretty much all day. I think we still have quite a few out in there. Basically we were making contacts with you guys to see how you're doing, making contacts with other producers out in the fields, making sure we're doing all that we can for them during this time. On that note, we need to make sure that we are doing things bigger and better out in the field. Every operation that we do, our mistakes are getting more significant, especially during this time where everything we do is under the magnifying glass. So everything you do above and beyond to the T, make sure that we are, showing these companies that we're the people that should be working for them and that we do things bigger, better, best. Again, continue to make sure you're wiping down common surfaces in your trucks and anything that you guys share communally. Make sure we're keeping that spread low. And then last but not least, we have a little message from Pat. He'd like you all to know that we are pushing through this time right now as a team and with the team that we have now. Times are rough, but Prairie is strong, and we're going to come out stronger than before when this is all through, and we're going to be ready to jump on any opportunities that come up. So, on that note, I feel like that's a pretty positive one to end on, and let's have a great rest of the week, shall we? If you have any questions, comments, concerns, get a hold of me, and let's do this. All right, any questions online? Dustin, your emails go to your personal. Any leaser emails go to your personal from Gilby. So you should be getting those. If you don't, maybe get a hold of Gilby and make sure he has your right email. And I think that'll do. I see a little bit more conversation still going on, so I think y'all are good to go, and we will see you next week. Thanks, guys. Okay, y'all, the safety focus phrase was already said. in the video. So if you didn't hear it, maybe go and rewatch the whole video again and find it in there. All right. Sounds good. Good night, everybody.